Hey everybody, it's Liberty Whispers here, back once again with another Monday mix for you. As I always say with each one of these, if this is your first time listening to this, then basically for the last good few weeks now, every Monday or Sunday night in my case, I pick out 6 tracks or 6 artists that I would recommend and talk about them, and if it sounds like something that you might be interested in, and you want to check out these tracks, I will put the links in the swimsuit area, aka the description box down below. It's very simple, but it's how I like to keep it. So starting off this week is one of my favourite bands of all time, and that's The Clash, and the track that I picked is Janie Jones from their self-titled debut album, The Clash. Now, I love The Clash for many, many reasons, but one thing that kind of, and I don't want to say upset, but nags me a little bit with The Clash is that, yeah, they are very critically acclaimed, but when it comes to thinking of UK punk, the first thing that people's minds usually jump to is the Sex Pistols, and now this is not a diss against the Sex Pistols. They have obviously their place in history, and I agree that once in a while people need to kind of just be snapped out of their concentration span, and sometimes you just need somebody to say something provocative to do that, and that's where the Sex Pistols fit in. But in terms of punk in general and UK punk, it's my opinion. I mean, you feel free to disagree, but it's my opinion that The Clash did so much more for not just punk but music, because they were being, they had moments of controversy, but they were being socio and political, and they were bringing in different cultures to their music. A lot of sort of dub reggae based inspirations, world music. Joe Strummer was a very insightful, very sort of introvert kind of guy, putting his thoughts and feelings into his music, and the music itself just kind of speaks volumes for the band. Yeah, I could go on and on and on about The Clash, but I'm not going to. But if you've never heard, and the thing is, and this is where people might disagree with me, but The Clash, it's often cited that their best album is London Calling, and again, it's not to say that it isn't, because I love London Calling, but I actually prefer, and it's just a case of preference. Everyone's got a different preference for different things, but it's my preference and my opinion that the first album, their debut album, is actually a lot better than London Calling, simply because it just seems to be raw and, I don't know, just more full on. But again, that's just my preference. But yeah, there you go, Janie Jones, which is a song I love, by a band I love. So if you've never heard The Clash, you definitely need to listen. Granted, it might not be your kind of thing, but once you've heard them, never have to hear them again. But again, if you've never heard them before and you listen and you like, then there you go. There's a new band for you. But yeah, that's cool. That's The Clash. I'm going to stop talking about them because I could literally go on and on and on. Pick number 2 this week is a track called Bam Bam by Sister Nancy, off the album 1-2. I think it is released in early 80s, 81, 82 perhaps. I love this song. To me, this is just the pinnacle sort of dancehall reggae sound that really kind of appeals to me. It's just got such a strong bass line, and the sax work on it is fantastic, and it's just got a really, really simple but catchy melody, and it will get stuck in your head for days, potentially. What's cool about Sister Nancy is that she was, I believe she was the first female dancehall DJ ever. And I know that she did a lot of work within the DJ community, and she kind of really strived to kind of bring that to attention and kind of get that more publicised as it was. She did a lot of work in that particular genre and that community, but you know, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool claim to fame, you know. Ladies doing it for themselves, and all respect to them. Track number 3 is a track called Used for Glue by the post-hardcore band Rival Schools from the album United by Fate, which was the album that, along with Deftones' White Pony and, don't hold it against me, but Dr. Dre's 2001 were the albums of my teenage years. I love Rival Schools, and they just recently released their second album earlier this year, which I also really, really liked. I had I had a crippling fear that it would just plummet and it just would not be anywhere near as good as I was hoping it to be, but it was. It was a really, really good second album, and it was like 10 years after the release of United by Fate, so, you know, a lot of time in between, but definitely worth the wait. But Used for Glue is just a fantastic alt-rock post-hardcore song. It's just so catchy, yet the guitar work is so fierce on that thing, and it just kind of hits you like an audible punch to the head. It's just wow. Yeah, big Rival Schools fan. Big fan of everyone on the list, really. Track number 4 is from a guy who has been around for a couple of years. I believe he's from Oxford, and I believe his name is Orlando Higginbottom is his real name. Which, yeah. I would use a stage name as well if I was him. His stage name is Totally Enormous Extinct Dinosaurs, which I love. And if you were wondering, yes, he does sometimes dress like a dinosaur during his live sets. He is a DJ turned recording artist who literally dabbles in just about everything from like dub reggae to garage music to ambient stuff to pop music to post dubstep to elements of rave. Just literally the guy just kind of manages to stretch himself out across all different genres, and it seems to work, so, you know, kudos to him. But Garden is a single which is being re-released, I think, next month, because he's just switched over to Polydor Records, I think it is, and so they're kind of wanting to remarket his stuff, I think, because he's due to have a debut album out next year. So I think it's more of a marketing ploy, but still, it's a really good tune. If you're a fan of people like Hot Chip or Joe Goddard, who I had on last week's list, you'll definitely like Garden. In fact, I think Joe Goddard has actually done a remix for the EP that this is coming off. So yeah, I mean, I like him. He's got a lot of good ideas going on, and seems to be quite experimental. So that's always good. Always good. Track number 5 is from the album Learning by Perfume Genius. Why it was so hard to say Perfume, I don't know, but Perfume Genius, and the album Learning, the track is called Mr. Peterson, and oh my goodness, I don't exactly know who Mr. Peterson is in the song, because it's like a song that seems to be pieced together from childhood memories, or from the aspect of somebody's childhood memories about this guy called Mr. Peterson, who seems to be this, on one hand, this jolly old kind of guy who became a confidant of this person, of the person whose narrative it is, but at the same time it seems a bit weird. It seems almost like Mr. Peterson's grooming this guy. I don't know, it's such an enigma, but it's is weird. It's kind of about the life and death of this mysterious Mr. Peterson, but it's done in such a haunting manner. Just these, I don't know how they recorded it. It sounds like it's kind of been recorded via analog mechanisms and put onto actual cassette tape, because it sounds almost kind of rustic in the way it's been recorded, but these piano riffs are just really haunting, and the guy's kind of got this voice that just kind of cuts through. It sounds a little bit like Sufjan Stevens, if anybody's familiar with him. If you like Sufjan's work, then I think you'll really like this. But yeah, it's a strange, mysterious and kind of enigmatic track that just, I don't know, it just kind of catches your imagination, kind of draws you into the lyrics. Speaking of lyrics, one of my favourite lyricists of the last couple of years, hell, one of my favourite artists of the last couple of years, is Laura Marling, and the track that I'm picking from her is Blackberry Stone off last year's I Speak Because I Can album, which I adored. In fact, it was one of 2 or 3 albums I gave a full 10 out of 10 through my review process last year. I think that album will hold up in time as a modern day classic. And I think people will be talking about that for years to come. It's weird because she is an English singer-songwriter, for those who don't know, 21 years old, but she writes these really kind of heartfelt songs that kind of go so deep beneath the surface. She kind of writes like someone twice her age. It's weird. It's like she's had all this life experience, and it just oozes out of her into these songs, these sort of really rustic, authentic, heartfelt folk numbers. It's brilliant, and the melody to Blackberry Stone is just fantastic. Really kind of emotional, but delicately beautiful work. Yeah, I'm a huge Laura Marling fan, like ridiculously huge. Anyway, those are your top 6 for this week, for your Monday mix. As always, links in the swimsuit area, and if you like any of the things that I've suggested this week, please feel free to let me know what you've liked, or if you feel like there is something I might like. If you've got any recommendations for me, please let me know. I would absolutely love to hear your recommendations or suggestions. Yeah, so as always, guys, thanks for listening, and happy listening, I guess. That doesn't make sense. Whatever, go enjoy the music.